Welcome back, blade fans. This old sword with you. And here is a Civivi that I must admit I'm late to the party on. This is January 2022, and this knife came out around January 2021. There have been a number of reviews on it. It's called the Picaro. It's in D2 steel, and it's a large, relatively light, long knife. I've also been told by White Mountain Knives that it either will shortly be discontinued or may have already, although White Mountain does have an inventory in a couple different colors. And this is the tan. I believe they have the green and the black. They all have the blacked out blades as far as I know. It's a hollow ground blade with a very fine edge and an interesting hybrid opening method here, where we have both a thumb stud and we have an opening hole where if you give it enough energy, this is a little tight. It does run on washers, interestingly enough, not bearings. It's about a $56 knife currently on White Mountain. If you use my discount code OLDSWORD, you can get 10% off of that amount and bring it down closer to about $50 with no tax and no shipping. No free shipping. Can't say no shipping, right? You'll never get the knife. It has a heavily textured G10 handle scales. It has a deep carry clip. They are all blackened. Flathead screws with the clip riding on the surface of the handle, which isn't really too bad. And the only problem you may run into is that it's a pretty flexible clip, not bad, just about the right amount of tension. But it you may run into the roughness of that surface dragging a little bit on your pocket. But you have tip up carry right or left hand, which is nice. And let's get right into some dimensions. We have an overall length of this knife of exactly 9 inches and a blade length of 3.95 roughly, and a cutting edge of about 3 5/8, because we have a nice useful finger choil here that's pretty well defined and also serves as a sharpening choil. Now, as far as the dimensions of the blade stock go, we've got, look like I hit 3.0 right at the start. Yeah, it's averaging to about a 3.0 millimeters. And let's switch to inches. I almost put that away. We got to do the handle thickness, exactly 1/2 inch. And weight. Wait for the weight. Scale's warming up and greeting me. Let's do a Terry again. Okay. Doesn't like the surface it's on, but I'm not going to spend all day on it. Okay. So plopping that guy down, I'm going to call it a 4-ounce knife. 4.03 is 4 ounces. And for a large knife, that is not bad. We've got 1 ounce per inch, because we're going to call that pretty close to a 4-inch blade. We have a good amount of weight relieving inside. We'll see if we can get a little light on the subject. Yes, so you can see that bridge work inside there on the show side, and a fair amount on the liner locking side as well. We've got a good lockup of pretty close to 50%. The liners are exposed, and we've got standoffs, got 2 of them, plus the stop pin. And we do have a lanyard hole. So the cool thing about this knife is it's got an interesting blade shape. It's a drop point with a good run of straight edge and a nice gradual, get it in focus, belly. You got the point dropping enough to where you can use that point for detail work. We've got some jimping that's fairly effective here, just a very short run of it, short thumb ramp. You can go this way, lying the finger on the blade, and you've got enough certainly for a thumb on the back of the blade should you choose to exert pressure that way. There is your pivot marker from Civivi, the big C. It's a T8 on this side. And handle ergos are quite neutral, as you can see. There's no defined grooves for your finger, so you can hold it kind of a saber grip this way. You can square up on it. You can shift it around and go point down, edge forward. You could even go edge in, although the curve here sort of works a little bit against you on that, sort of swallows up the hand a little too much, but whatever you like. As I say, light for the size. We'll call it roughly a 4-inch blade, and we've got a 4-ounce knife. Long handle, plenty left over, good inch in my hand. And the action is not going to be wildly drop shutty like your bearing knives. You pretty much have to close it with your hand. And since it is on washers, give it a little bit of wrist action when you middle finger flick it. I've tried loosening and tightening it a few times, oiling it up, and it may be as good as it's going to get. That's not a bad thing. Blade is centered, maybe just a tiny bit off, possibly because I had loosened it up a little bit. You tighten it up and it moves over there. So, I mean, it's not a bad thing. That's more my adjustment than anything else to get it where I want it to be. And yet, when it locks open, we have no lock rock or blade play. Thing is, you'll just have to play with it a little bit. And if you're in love with bearing knives, this may not be the one for you. But you get a relatively inexpensive knife at around 50 bucks. Civivi quality, which is we as the parent company. And let's take a look at it next to another long, large knife, the Rat 1, which we often use for comparison, as many people do, and it is a bigger knife than the Rat 1. Let's switch perspectives so that is a little more accurate. You can see that it overall is considerably longer by at least an inch, maybe an inch and a quarter. And we've got a blade that is also longer by maybe, what would I call it, half an inch maybe. If we put it up against the Griptilian, you can see that it comes in even larger than the Griptilian. Definitely a longer knife overall and blade length. Take another look around. Wide open construction. Again, feels very light in the hand at 4 ounces for its size. I'm not going to say it's heavy at all, and it's not going to bulge out in your pocket at half an inch. Certainly, I wouldn't even notice it in the pocket. Came in just the other day, so not a whole lot of use at this point. I do like the way it fires with the thumb stud. I probably wouldn't be middle finger flicking it because of the drag of those washers. You got to give it a little wrist, but it will go. And you can adjust it to your own liking. I mean, if you got to have it all, you got to have blade centered and have it middle finger flickable. You may not be able to get that balance. I'm not sure. I'm not going to dwell on that topic. Again, a little late to the party on this one. It's been out for a year and maybe reaching end of life as far as production goes. But you can still get them, and you might continue to be able to get them for a while on the secondary market. So this is the Civivi Picaro. If I didn't mention it, it is in D2 steel. And all the specs will be up on the screen when you view the video. Hope you enjoyed this, and don't forget to give it a like and subscribe. This Old Sword, signing out.